Okay, cool.
So we're recording right now. So I'm with Monica Silva from Audacity Cosmetics. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I remember you're one of the very first businesses that I saw on TikTok when I first downloaded it, and I was really intrigued by your story and what you said by wanting to be your own boss. So just to get straight to it, like was there like a moment or experience that made you decide that you wanted to be your own boss and create your businesses?
Yeah, so I think it was sometime in high school. I knew that I wasn't happy working for somebody else. I always kind of enjoyed, making your own income. That's always a priority because, there's college tuition, there's things like moving out. And I knew that I know that I was capable of more. So then I was like, I'm really intrigued with business and all areas of like marketing. I grew up in an environment where there was a lot of business relatives. My parents, they own their own business. My mom does, my dad does, my uncle does. And I always kind of grew up around that. So then I was like, maybe I can do it too. So then in high school, I think I realized that I wanted to be my own boss around freshman or sophomore year.
So you were around like people having their own businesses under like having entrepreneurship like DNA, I guess, right?
Yeah, like they always had that mindset, and I always kind of like was in awe for that. So I really wanted to accomplish some goals regarding that topic and subject of a career.
So when it came down to having your own businesses, where you're like your parents and family kind of like did they accepted that? Because I feel like I'm also Latino, and my parents and family they definitely take the education route more seriously, right? I don't know
Yeah, they
like
do.
I don't know if you're gonna go to school because I know you're absolutely killing it on IG on TikTok. You
Hmm.
know, a lot of people you sell out like every time you create more
Restock.
product. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So like the thing is like, do you plan on going to college or do you just want to take a year off and kind of like see where things go?
So I've definitely struggled with this topic because I knew that I was already doing very good. I was already having a stable income. My parents, of course, they were like super strict with my academics and all that. So, but the first reason why I started my business was because I wanted to pay for my own college tuition. And I did just that. I paid off my college tuition for my first year at my community college. I do plan on attending the university. At first, my parents were kind of skeptical about my business because they didn't know how it was going to turn out. Because the first year and a half or so, they didn't even know I was planning out my business and all that.
Mm-hmm. So like when your parents like made their businesses, like did they like you're Mexican, right? Did
Yeah.
they immigrated into the United States and did they like work for someone and then saved up money to create their own businesses?
Yeah, so my dad, he was the first one to come to the United States. He started off by working for other people. He was employed at different restaurants. My dad, he's a cook. He is amazing at it. He has a passion for culinary. So he started up his own catering business, and he does that for a living now. He has been ever since I was like 4 years old. And he's been expanding and he's been gaining a lot, but ever since the pandemic happened, of course, like there's not a lot of events and clients that he can obtain. So that's why I kind of stepped up, and like because of like my new financial stability, I'm helping out my family as well.
That's really dope. I think it's definitely like a goal for like any entrepreneur, like not only to be stable for yourself, but really to help like your family, friends
Yeah.
and family in need when they really need it, you know? And that just goes to show like, yeah, like even if you do have like a stable like job, you know, like a 9 to 5 job, it's always good to have like that extra side hustle, that extra business, just in case if something like this does happen, you have like another source of income, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I know like, where do you say like are your like most popular products on TikTok? For example, like the first video I saw on your feed was like you making like the lip gloss, and you know
Hmm.
like, I don't really know too much about cosmetics and stuff like that, but I just
Hmm.
like seeing that content of how it really was being
Is
made.
produced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I think the first video that I put out there, the first one that really made it and got like viral, that one hit like more than 9 million views, and that was just me sharing my story. But I think the people that are on my feed and that noticed me on their For You page was very like attracted to the way I made my products, especially because I'm a business of like one business person. Is just one person running this whole entire business, legalized as a residential production. And I think people just really like the idea that I'm making good quality products that are not sticky, because a lot of people complain about, oh, this lip gloss is sticky, I don't like it, da, 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 da. And I decided to formulate something that was way different, because it is always told in the entrepreneurship fields that you need to ask yourself what makes you different from your competitors, and that is what made me different from other lip gloss brands.
I think something else that makes you like really different is that you're literally like the face of the business, you know, like even like the logo,
Yes.
like you're literally the face. And like, I think people like, one of my favorite things about you is that like, you're so authentic, you know, you're just yourself. And that's why I think people like love your brand. They're not just buying your product, they're buying like the experience. They're like, they're involved in your world. You know what I mean? And
Yes,
that's
thank
something that's
you.
like very like, that's very different, that's very special compared to like a massive brand like Sephora. You know, there's no face, it's just a
Yes.
giant, it's a really popular good brand, but there's no face to it, and they didn't really have like a
Mm-hmm.
personality like what you have. You know what I mean? And so
Yes.
that's what I think like nowadays what people love, and it's very different, you know.
Yes, thank you. Because I think the reason why I felt that it would be a good idea to be the face of my business, not because I wanted to gain like some sort of like visibility, like hype. I did not
Mm-hmm.
want that. I think I just felt comfortable that it's one, like it's an actual person behind this business. I want people to see me as a role model for them, because I like growing up, I always told my parents, I'm like, hey, like I want to inspire people. I want to be a motivational speaker. I'd always say all of these different types of things. I have so many passions. And I thought that I could involve that in one business. I have a passion for beauty. I have a passion for modeling. I have a passion for photography, digital creativity. I created my own logo. I designed other logos for other small businesses. So I have more than one stream of income, of course, because I want to inspire others to get into the entrepreneurial like mindset as well.
Mm-hmm. And like, how did you find your passion like so young? Or, like, I feel like kids, like people in high school, like they have an idea like what they want to do. Like, oh, when I go to school, I want to study this. But when they're in school, they probably changed their mind like a million times, and that's perfectly fine. But
Yes.
you at an early age, like, how did you like know like this is what I wanted to do for a fact?
So it was actually like super random. I was at home. I'm always like on YouTube. You cannot take me away from my phone. I'm always wanting to see some sort of like creativity from someone. And I found out that someone that goes to my community college, like this is like when I was 16, she created her own lip gloss line. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like that's like so dope. Like how does she do that? So I went online, I did research, and I found out how people were making them, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is kind of cool, but I feel like I can do it a little bit better. So like totally like a self-care moment, self-love moment like within that, because I found my passion for makeup at a very early age as well. So I thought that maybe I could kind of revamp some sort of method for other people to use to make themselves feel better about themselves, rather than, because you know we live in a world where it's like where society kind of just like has different standards for other people, and I kind of want to be a brand that would tell people like, oh, you don't have to buy this so it'll make you look pretty. I need like, you can buy this so you can be able to relate to the product, rather than just feeling, okay, it's going to make me look better for other people. Like, no, this is a brand where someone deserves to feel empowered about themselves.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you're definitely like, have you always been like an extrovert? Because you definitely like Audacity, like just the name of your brand and just your attitude,
Yes.
just like is a perfect compliment. You know what I mean? But in terms of like other people, for example, like me, like or anyone else like that are introverts, where do you
Mm-hmm.
recommend that they do like? Do you think it's fine for them not to put their face as their brand, but just still develop like a cool story for their brand, but not have their face like on it?
I mean, it's totally up to the person, I would say. I feel like I recommend that they kind of have like a little talk to themselves, because I'm those type of people that kind of just sit in front of the mirror and just like talk to themselves. I know it's like sounds like so weird, but like I do that. I kind of just like touching bases with myself, having a quiet moment. I think it's I think it's the idea of failure, the idea of fear, the idea that you don't even know what's going to happen, that kind of limits to someone's capabilities as to what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just got to touch bases with what they know they are capable of and what they want for themselves. Because if you want something, I'd say go for it. Do not hesitate. Just go head on. Of course, like pace yourself, but definitely have like a little self-love moment, because I feel like a lot of people don't give themselves enough credit for the things that they do for themselves and
Yeah.
for others.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like the most extrovert and 1 being like
Mm-hmm.
an extreme introvert, where do you put yourself at the scale?
I definitely like to consider myself as a 10 because I'm always doing something for like my business. I know that I want to do more for others. I'm always the type of like person to think outside of the box.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that comes from like coming from like a Latina background? Because I know like Central Americans, South Americans, like they all like it's
Mm-hmm.
all about family and it's all about being with each
Right.
other and like they're always together, always talking. And do you think that that sort of background gives you or gave you that approach of being like an extrovert?
Right. So my parents, I think I just found it from like my past as a Latina with a Latina family because my parents, of course, they grew up in Mexico. My mom, she went through poverty. My dad, he was always working. My dad came here for a better life. I kind of always found out, I was like, okay, you work for family, you work to make sure that your future family has a better life. And so I always kind of found that mindset. I was like, okay, I want to do this for myself and for my family, and hopefully kind of be an image for others to do the same for theirs. No matter the race, no matter the ethnicity, like no matter who, it can be anybody. And I kind of wanted to like set that as a stepping stone for others.
Yeah, totally respect. I think there's so much opportunity, especially nowadays on social media, to really be
Yes.
yourself, and just do what you like. Most importantly, just create like a business from your passions and just be real. You know what I mean? And I think it's all
Yeah.
about being real nowadays. So leading up to like Audacity Cosmetics, I think you've jumped like back and forth between like business ideas, and that's perfectly fine.
Right.
Like, what were like those first business ventures or side hustles leading up to Audacity Cosmetics?
So before Audacity Cosmetics, I knew that I wanted to start my own business. Of course, it was difficult for me to find my niche. It's so hard to figure out what you want to do. So the first thing I did was like I said, I was into digital creativity. Of course, my work back then wasn't as good as it is now, but I would sell cartoon portraits to people for a cheap price, like $10, $15. But it wasn't very consistent. I wasn't getting a lot of people. Secondly, I tried doing nails because I do nails. I do press-ons, I do acrylics. So I would charge people like $20, $25 if they wanted to get their nails done. And that did work for a while here and there, but eventually school started piling up on me. And then I eventually kind of just like drifted apart from that idea. Like I feel like everyone has that kind of moment, like when they're growing up as little kids, they go around their little neighborhood and like they sell cupcakes that like we make.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I didn't notice it until I was like in high school that I was always trying to somehow make my own money because I liked the idea that I was running some sort of little side hustle. So I think those were the ideas that happened before Audacity Cosmetics.
Mm-hmm. And so like creating all these side hustles and your business at such a young age, like do you get like a lot of hate?
So so when I was creating Audacity Cosmetics, no one really knew that I was even planning it because I wanted to keep it to myself. The only people that I told were like my two best friends and like my little tiny friend group, because I keep my friend group pretty small when I'm like venting to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they were the only ones that they knew. They knew what I was doing, but I wasn't really posting about it on social media or anything until I finally worked up the courage to kind of post about it on my Snapchat. Like, hey guys, like I do like lip glosses, da da da. Like at that moment, like I was pretty small. Like I was just starting off. And this was sometime in October of 2019 last year. And everyone was still using TikTok, but I wasn't using TikTok at the time because, like TikTok used to be Musically. I didn't want to use it because, back then, like everyone would like look back at the videos and like, oh my gosh, you're so cringy. Da, da. So I didn't really want to get involved in that anymore until my friend that was sitting next to me in my marketing class would tell me like, hey, you should get on TikTok and like create an account just to like my photos. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So then I made the account. So then I started posting on TikTok, and then comes December over like winter break, I went viral. And of course, people at my school, they saw me on their For You page.
Mm-hmm.
They saw how many likes I got. And then when I got back to school from winter break, holy smokes. So many people were like, oh my gosh, I saw you on my For You page. You were on my For You page. Because, okay, like, yeah, that video hit like 9 million views. So like I'd expect like a lot of people in my school saw it. it felt kind of cool knowing that like so many people saw me unexpectedly. But as time went on, there were a lot of people who like talked smack about it, because eventually the journalism class at my school, they like do magazines and all that, and they interviewed me and they made a whole article on me on the page. So then when all the magazines got passed out at school, everyone read about my story and like what I did, and everyone was researching me. And then over time, like people started Googling me and looking for me on TikTok and Instagram. And then there were some times where people from my school would create like a hate account on me. Right. And to be honest, I thought it was kind of dumb of what they're posting, because they said like, oh my gosh, she's bragging. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not posting to brag. I'm posting to inspire others, and also because I'm proud. And I think that it's like okay to take some things personal, because at the end of the day, there are things that you wouldn't do towards others. But that's just kind of what happens when you become an influencer so quickly. I mean, I'm just glad I graduated already. So
Yeah.
So there's like no really going back. But like, yes, I did receive hate. But at the end of the day, I have to remember that there's like more good than bad, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to remember that.
For sure. So before TikTok, before exploding and scaling through TikTok, how were you just using Instagram? Was it just like was it stable? Were you like killing it? How was it?
So it was growing, but it wasn't growing like, of course, as fast as TikTok. I remember I'd be getting like a few followers here and there. The way I would grow my following through Instagram is, at the time I used to work at my local mall. I was working there for like a good year. It was at a candy kiosk. So like there's like those little kiosks in the middle aisles of the mall, and like people pass by and I would sell candy. And at the time we didn't even have any uniforms. So what I did was I wore my Audacity shirt promoting my brand, and people would ask me like, oh my gosh, that's a cute shirt, and I'd be like, thanks, it's from my brand. And then they'd get more interested, they'd get intrigued into the story, and then I'd talk to them about it very quickly, and then they just hit the follow button, which is pretty cool. So I started off locally. At the time before I went viral through TikTok, I had like a good 300 followers on my page on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. So you think that most of your followers from Instagram came from TikTok?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah? Okay. Because I like seeing your content both TikTok and on Instagram, and like really study like how you promote your brand, you know? And
Yes.
it's like I think it's like really cool, because like you're not saying, oh,
Thank
like
you.
buy this. You're just showing like you're just being like 100% like authentic, just
Yeah.
showing like the process, showing like your business behind the scenes. And I think that's like what people like, you know?
Yeah.
So where do you want to see like Audacity Cosmetics? Like, do you want it to be like, you want to create like extend your lines, create more products? Or do you think like you wanted to see it in retail or have it purchased by like a super mega brand like Sephora? Like, where do you kind of see yourself, or do you take it like day by day?
So like I definitely have a lot of amazing desires for myself and for my brand. I think I really want to expand more. I really want to expand my inventory a lot more, because I'm not gonna lie, it's like pretty cool selling out, but it's also very exhausting, like restocking consistently. So hopefully one day I'll have like my own warehouse. I'll have like an Audacity Cosmetics LLC headquarters. At the time, like of course it's a little harder now, because you know we are in a pandemic. I can't just go out and look for a place. Secondly, this all happened so quick. I was not mentally prepared for anything, and I've only been running this business for like a good 8 to 9 months already, which is also pretty cool. So
Yeah,
everything has its time.
Yeah, and you definitely scaled up real quick. 8 to
Yeah.
9 months, like, damn. I would expect that you'll be like growing way before, but I guess hit TikTok, that's like, it really helps out, you know?
Yeah, it really does, because I know that people that post, they don't really understand that like sometimes it can be really, really easy to blow up. Everyone has the opportunity to blow up. It just depends on the content that they put out.
Mm-hmm. So like, do you think like one day like you wouldn't be down, say like if a Sephora were to hit you up, be like, hey, like we want to purchase your brand, like you don't want to be like completely independent and just take Audacity Cosmetics to the next level?
Right. So like I always kind of like thought to myself, like, what if this happened one day? What if like Sephora reached out? What if like Target, I don't know, like some sort of big brand corporation that wants to like collaborate or something. Um I don't really see myself being in Sephora because I know that Sephora is like really high end. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I walk into Sephora, they be expensive and like really high end and like super good quality. Like, of course, no hate to Sephora. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that like it can make my wallet cry if I even
Yeah.
walk in there for like an hour. And my products, they're like pretty affordable. They are, because I knew that like my stuff, like they're vegan and cruelty free. Vegan and cruelty free organic products, they're like pretty expensive because, you know, it's like the greatest quality out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted, but I didn't want to make it difficult for people to buy. I wanted to make
Yeah.
it affordable. I wanted to make sure that everyone has a chance to at least buy. And of course, it helps me at the end of the day because I love doing my work. I love inspiring others because it's not just a product that's going to like help someone with their lips, because my products, they also help hydrate lips. I don't know, like I've always kind of just formulated my stuff to help others.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. Help, inspire, motivate, all this different type of stuff. But yeah.
Do you think like you will make like a high-end product? Because I know for like cosmetics in general, you can get a really high, like you can get like 10x, 20x for the actual cost of making the product, and that's just like the nature of like the skincare market. You know what I mean? You think you
Yeah,
like one day
because
you just not focus, but create another line where like you just freaking like it'll be really high quality, and therefore the price would be had to be higher.
yeah, I have thought about it. I thought about starting a body care line. I for sure want to like expand to like having gender neutral products eventually as well,
That's
because I'm
huge. Yeah,
reaching
it's
out to
huge.
so much people. And like, of course, I'm all about women empowerment and all that, but I want to make sure, like, I can't forget about the guys out here, because at the end of the day, I do have some people that are like guys, like they just like them, they like the hustle, they like to see it.
That's so true. Like I was speaking to this girl, and she's like, "Yeah, like so many guys are getting into cosmetics, and it's like a new world. Like it's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many guys are. I mean, I even use skincare products. Like I have like some
Mm-hmm.
acne, and like I gotta make sure like I look like I want to look good when I'm 50 years old. I want to have that
Mm-hmm.
JLo skin when I'm 70 years
Right.
old. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna lie, people want to
Mm-hmm.
look good.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's definitely like a good idea to like extend your line. But do you think like if you have like too many products, it'll be like too overwhelming? Or unless you hire someone, like do you think you're up to that point, or like one day down the line, sooner or later, you're gonna have someone to work with?
Yes. I do actually have the papers to legally hire someone, which is also pretty good. I think it's just a matter of timing because, again, we're in a pandemic. And like my business is like my baby, you know, like I created this business, I raised it, you know, it's growing. It's like I am the mother of this business. Like I created it, right? So it's like a lot of trust that I got to put in someone's hands. But at the moment, of course, I'm gonna take my time because I'd rather have my business based at an actual like designated area. Like it's like I said, I want to do like a headquarters, so that way it's a lot more simpler, a lot more easier, and a lot more productive rather than being a legalized residential production at home.
Yeah. So would you rather like work with someone that you know very closely, like for example, like your best friends, and kind of like teach them like how to run a business, like how to do X, Y, and Z, or would you hire someone who knows their stuff and you just pay them like a salary?
So I think it would kind of have to depend on the person. Like for example, if I know them, I think it had to depend on who it is. Secondly, I would trust like a stranger, but of course, like I would love to set up an interview with them just so I can have like my requirements set out, because I don't want to make it feel like, oh, because she or he is my friend, I'm just gonna automatically give it to them because I've known them my whole life. Like, no, I want to make sure that they are capable of doing so, just as someone else would be interviewed to do the job.
Mm-hmm. And would you meet them like face to face, or nowadays like a lot of people hire like not virtual assistants, but like I guess like freelancers or people across the country that can work for you? Would you rather have someone like face to face?
Yes, I'd rather have someone face to face because my brand is not the type to be like closed minded, I guess. Like I don't know how to say it, but my brand is like very like involving and engaging, and like it's all about community. So I want to make sure that I'm treating my employees like with like that type of like family friend vibe, because if you're involved with my brand, if you're going to work for my brand, it's not just like you working for me. We're working together. It's a team. It's a family, because I treat my audience as a family, because they are like my supporters. They're like my everything. They're like the reason why like I'm having my bills paid. They're the reason why like I'm having everything else stabilized. And it's overall just like they're fulfilling my dream, because I've always wanted to motivate others. So like I would kind of want it to be face to face, so I know who I'm dealing with and how we would interact if we're going to keep working.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because I think if you, I mean, it's not wrong to hire someone that you don't know, but I think like if you really know that person or you really trust them, then you can really build the team and the community together. You know, sometimes when you can't get that true feeling, just like, I guess like FaceTiming someone halfway across the world or halfway across the country, like you're not gonna get that same feeling, you know. But what were like the biggest challenges of your business? I would assume, I'm not like an expert or whatever, is like getting like the licenses, because like even with like food or whatever, if you want to make your own granola bar and sell it, I feel like the process of making like your own skincare brand like from scratch, because I know you make your products from scratch, like how is that even like possible? Like what's the first step? That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, so like I think one of the obstacles that I came across in my business, getting my limited liability company was definitely a challenge. I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity to have my marketing teacher help me out with that, because I gained most of my like marketing strategies from her, because I took 2 years worth of marketing at my high school, and I learned so much from her. And then I just kind of stepped up and kind of asked her like, hey, like Miss Charlton, how you do it? Like how like what website do I use? Because I know what I knew, because I didn't know whether I wanted to have a sole proprietorship or an LLC. I did not know, but I knew those papers would help me out get my EIN number, which is an employer identification number, because I know you need that to purchase a domain. So then I was like, yeah, like please, like I'll even pay you. And she's like, no. And like so yeah, thanks to her, I did find a reliable website to register for my LLC. That's definitely a challenge, especially with all the legal papers I have to sign. I did have to reach out to like my other like economics teacher in AP government, because he had experience in law school, so I wanted to make sure that like I had reviewed everything with him, just like a little insight, because growing individually as an individual in my high school and getting to know my teachers, they kind of saw me grow as well, and they were always kind of in awe for that. So like they loved like being involved with like my process of even building up my business. So they helped me, and I was just so internally grateful for them. And so like I would say like registering for my LLC was a super big struggle, but I did get it done. I did get over with. I understand it fully, but I don't think I would have ever like fully gotten it done without them, which is something I'm also grateful for.
So you definitely utilize the resources around you. That's dope. I think like, yeah, I feel definitely utilizing the, like, of course you can YouTube or Google anything, but if you have those teachers, those resources around you, it's always a good idea to utilize them. So wait, what was the name of the teacher, the marketing teacher?
Miss Charlton.
So shout out to Miss Charlton. She might be like what, your first employee, maybe?
Number one? Yeah, something like that.
Low key.
Definitely inspiration.
That's dope. So when you go to college, do you think you'll go into marketing? That would be like your major?
So definitely, my classes actually start in August. Of course, online school, of course, because pandemic. I'm actually majoring in entrepreneurship, because I know there's so much more to knowing about entrepreneurship, because when I took 2 years worth of marketing at high school, I did gain some college credit for that, and I know a lot about marketing already. So then I was like, why don't I expand my knowledge more into the entrepreneurship world? Because when I went, I don't know if you know what DECA is. Do you know what DECA is?
I've heard of, yeah.
Yeah, so DECA is like a business organization competition where students can take a road trip to like a hotel, and like they compete against other students in different areas of business, like fashion, food, retail. Of course, I chose the entrepreneurship category. And when I was competing on my first competition, I knew certain things. I found a lot of marketing strategies that I could use to like help myself kind of win in the competition. So this is just giving a little bit of background. I actually won top 10 finalists in the entrepreneurship category. I think it was the national. competition or state competition. I
How
don't know. I
many
forgot.
how many competitors? How many people were
Um,
competing?
definitely a lot. Like,
Damn.
I want to say 1,000, but I don't know because it was a really big hotel. It was like huge, like bigger than like
You got a
a
trophy? You
basic
got a
high
trophy and
school
everything?
gymnasium. Huh?
Do you have a trophy or like a medal?
Oh yeah. So they gave me a finalist pin. I did receive a reward certificate and all that, which was also pretty cool. It was just an overall really good experience. But I did not have the full knowledge of the entrepreneurship like field because I lost in my second competition. It was like completely fine or whatever. But it was actually like so awesome winning my first try.
Definitely. So you're a student and you're a teacher as well, because I know on your site, on your brand, you help people how to make their own income, right?
Yes, so like I host webinars kind of like this because I know you're interviewing me for your podcast. I actually do webinars where I can have a sit down online class over Zoom and kind of teach people how to start up their business because I get so many DMs. Like my DMs are swamped with people saying like, "Hey, mentor me. Hey, how did you do this? Where did you get that?" And of course, like I'd love to help them out, but there's just so many people I can't help them out one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And my first try was doing one-on-one like business consultations, and it was really time consuming. I did it once. It was a really good experience, but I did not like it because I knew that doing one-on-one that would be like too much for me. So then I was like, why don't I expand and have like a sit down with all these people at once? So of course I'd be investing my time into it, so then I would charge a ticket like at an affordable price.
Mm-hmm.
Like I won't always charge for webinars, but for this one I can have at least 500 people sit down with me if they'd like to just kind of sit down with me and like kind of like I'll be sharing the process that I exactly did that saved me money, that they can avoid different financial risks, stuff like that, like how to make money like without a website, how to save up for your business the right way rather than wasting your money and like let it go to waste.
And do you guys also like come up with like business ideas or like,
Yeah, so I give them the opportunity like towards the end of like the PowerPoint, like in which I'm teaching the class, to ask me their questions. Like for example, someone would ask me, where do I find vendors? Where do I legalize my business? And I will give them like the credible information to do that. And I'd have them like sit down in a quiet place wherever they want to be. They like write down notes on their notepads. And I think it's a really good overall experience because everyone is bonding and everyone is having an opportunity to ask their questions and have them be answered.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's really dope. So a lot of people DM you. So like, do you think like on your, I don't know if you have like a personal TikTok account. I know you have a personal Instagram and Audacity Cosmetics account on Instagram, but do you like kind of share like not insights but like advice, like give value on like how to open up a business, how to get a LLC, how to find vendors? Do you like push out content through your personal account?
Yeah, so on TikTok I do have a personal account, but it's just like so dead, it's so inactive because I'm like so focused on my business account. Yes, I do use my Instagram, my personal Instagram, to kind of like share like advice, mostly through DMs, because um either way I'm either posting like a email campaign or I create like flyers that I can post out. So like I'll create like a list of how to be like a business baddie, and I'd make a list of things that people can do, and I'd post that on my page to kind of motivate people to follow those type of steps. I've also made like a little campaign saying like what you need for a business, and like how you can start a business, and it's just lists that people can go over and see different ideas. I have done it through my personal account, but because most of the people there's like a lot of people that went to my school that are on that account.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit self-conscious, like to post on there because there's been 2 hate accounts made on me. Both were made from people on my school. So I don't really know who to trust. I don't like, of course, like I shouldn't have to care because at the end of the day, I'm just doing me. But at the same time, it like lightweight hurts because you went with those people, but it's crazy how they feel obligated to say something about you when they don't really know you personally.
Yeah,
It's just like, I don't really know why they do it. Is it because they hate to see it, or because they're jealous, or because they just didn't like me in general? Like, there's been so many rumors made about me, and I just, like, didn't really understand. But, like, that's just the life of an influencer, and I got to put up with it, and it's fine. But it's just difficult because I know a lot of my supporters, they go to my personal account to see if they can have any insight, but I just post mostly on my business account.
Yeah, I feel like
for the advice.
This high school in general, like being successful or not, I feel like it can be like hell. And just imagine like someone like you being really successful, all the attention on you, it just amplifies that, you know. So it's
It's
definitely
very
hard.
pressuring.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So how do you like structure your day? You know, I know you make your products, you have to brand, you have these classes, the webinars. Like, how do you deal? Do you have like a structure, or do you just sit down on your desk and kind of be like, okay, now what? What do I do?
Right. So I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes on my typical days, it could be very chaotic because as a business owner, the ideas never stop. There's always some sort of thoughts flowing around my head. No matter what, I always keep my business notebook with me or like somewhere around me so I can immediately write down an idea if I have it. Because if I don't write down the ideas that just automatically go through my head, I'm going to forget it like immediately. But sometimes I have different processes like for like when I accomplish something. Like for example, when I'm in production, I sanitize everything around me, start producing products, storage them, apply labels on them, and then once I'm done like making the products, I make a list on my notebook of like my inventory, like percentages, basically how much will I put out there, when will I put it out there. And then I do things one at a time because, you know, I am one person. I am packaging these individually. Right after I restock, which was like, for example, yesterday I restocked, all orders went through. I sold out within 10 minutes, which is such a blessing. And today I'm actually going to be packaging them, packaging like just for like a good 2-3 hours. I'd be making like 100 packages within there. Like, and then right after I package everything, I go to the postal office and then get back and then go back to work, seeing where my inventory lies. I'm always checking emails, checking DMs, checking in with some of my other entrepreneur friends. I only have a few because I think it's very important to have some sort of connection with someone who can relate to the things that you're doing. Sometimes I would love to talk to like my friends about it from school. It's just kind of difficult because they won't fully understand what I'm going through because they can't relate to the things that I'm like doing. Basically, they don't understand the pressure that is applied when thousands of people are kind of relying on you to kind of motivate them and inspire them, because I know they like that. They like to see something real. They like to see the behind the scenes because they like to have a visual example and representation of what they could have one day and what they could work for. And I wanted to be that for other people. So throughout my day, I'm just checking emails, DMs. Like sometimes it's crazy because I feel guilty for giving myself a break, like even a 15-minute break, because I can never take myself away from work. I'm always doing something with my business. But of course, I find time with family, friends, relationship, and all that, which is also pretty cool.
So you think it's like hard? Like, do you kind of have to like isolate from yourself, or do you think you have a fairly good balance now that you're like 9 months into your business, or do you still try to figure out? Like you said, like you're one person team, doing the branding, marketing, making the products. Like, do you really have time to like hang out and whatnot?
Yeah, I do have time to hang out. I think the fact that because my business has been growing, I've also have been like upgrading my business at the same time, because I used to fill up my tubes by hand, like with like an individual syringe. But now I actually have a cosmetic machine that's going to fill them up for me, and that like cuts the restocking time in half, which is so much easier and so much faster. So I definitely have much more time in my hands. I know it sounds like a lot because I'm one person and there's like thousands of people and they're seeing like so much get done, and it's crazy how much content I can put out there. But at the end of the day, like as I'm doing all of this stuff, it can get pretty much hectic, but it's just I'm the type of person who keeps lists, checklists, and Google Calendar is literally my whole life. Like I put everything on there. It's what helps me keep track of everything. And if I have a free day, I'm going to use that free day, like no matter what. But it's kind of cool because I also work from my phone. I work from my iPad. I work from my laptop. So it's not really like I have to move around a lot. Oh my gosh, that sounds so inactive and so unhealthy. But I do find that free time to kind of go out, see if I can like talk to like a friend or two. So yeah.
Definitely. So just a couple more questions before we wrap up here. So obviously, like you sell out like really quickly. And I was gonna ask, like, do you work with influencers? But I was gonna be like, maybe you don't have to because you sell out so fast. But then again, if you want to increase your brand awareness, you could use like TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers. Like, have you done that already, or have you like thought about it?
So I'm actually in the process of planning a collaboration with another makeup influencer. She has the same niche as me. Of course, like it's gonna be kept secret because we're not ready to launch yet.
For sure.
Yeah. So we have been working on it for a long time. We have been having it on pause for a while because we both have very big platforms. She has the biggest platform on Instagram, but I have the biggest platform on TikTok. And she was actually one of my idols and like inspirations for like starting like my whole business. And the fact that like she noticed that she was one of my inspirations and she saw me blossom, we actually became friends and we exchanged numbers and we were just like, hey, we should do a collaboration. And so we want to collaborate on a product, we want to set it on our sites, and we want to sell it to our audience. Because a lot of her audience knows about me and a lot of my audience knows about her.
So it's still coming up with like ideas, right? It's not really released yet, right? So coming soon?
Yeah, it's not really released yet. It's just like more in the planning phase.
All right, word. So just to close it out here, so where can people find you? Like of course, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, like what are all your platforms so that people can find you?
Right. So my website is audacitycos.com. That's audacitykos.com. Instagram, same thing, audacitykos, audacitykos. And on my TikTok, it's Audacity Cosmetics as well as my YouTube.
Got it. I'll link that all in the description. And just one final question. Do you have like a favorite book or quote that you want to share?
Right. So a favorite quote, of course, it's also my slogan, is be you, do you, for you. Knowing this quote has always stood out to me. It's always stood out to so many others, like of my friends. And I really want that to stand up for others and let them know that they have to do things for themselves and not be so reliant on others to make themselves happy. So definitely be you, do you, for you. You know, that's my motto. That's my slogan. Always.
Love that. All right. Thank you, Monica. I really appreciate it. Had so much fun. There's so much to talk about. But then again, I respect your time. And I really appreciate you being here on the podcast.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me. I had such a blast. I'm so honored to have this as like my first like interview, of course, because this is my first podcast interview, which is pretty cool.
I thought you had a lot more. I was thinking
No.
I'm like, okay, pretty dope.